Hello, NeuroNation. Emily Morgan from NeuroVlog here. In this short video, I'm going to show you a functional wrist correction using kinesiology tape to facilitate wrist extension. This can be used in a client that has radial nerve palsy, maybe cerebral palsy, and of course stroke in our brain injury population. So we're going to say that Sarah's arm is affected on her right side. And what we're looking for is just a little bit of proprioceptive feedback to engage that cue to our brain for wrist extension. We're going to take our tape, and we always want to, depending on how much tension we feel we need, cut a little shorter than the length of how long the beginning and the end of the tape needs to be. So I'm going to be starting at the metacarpals and running all the way to the origin of her wrist extensors, but I want to make that a little shorter because I'm going to be putting about 50% tension on this tape. So I'll cut my tape and of course round the corners because we know that cornered sides often are jagged and unfortunately come off a lot easier. I'm going to rip the end of it. And this is heat activated material, so of course I'm going to, once placed, rub in order to get that to adhere. And then what we'll do is create a bridge. I'm going to put her in wrist extension. I'm going to pull the tape off, and remember we're trying to get that 50% tension or so. Here's 100%. Let's back it off to about 50. And I'm just going to keep pulling. Now the end of the tape, we do not want to put any tension on. Just let that go. I'll adhere the end of the tape. Now at this point here, I'm going to turn her to her side. We're going to put her into slight flexion and then smooth over the tape. So it might not seem like a whole lot, but for an individual who has difficulty, maybe some mild spasticity or no spasticity, just that little bit of input and feedback can make a big difference. So this one is for just the wrist. Now a lot of people also have difficulty with extending their phalanges, their digits. So I'll show you that right now too. So you just saw the first application to facilitate functional wrist extension. Now we're going to get the digits involved and get those extended in the mix as well. So to save time, I have pre-cut the piece of kinesiology tape, and I have stripped down 4 separate pieces of tape, and those are going to be applied along each of the digits to get that facilitation of digit extension. Now, I stripped each of these away too so that I can peel off the little pieces of tape, and the sticky end of the kinesiology tape is what is going to connect just proximal to her nail bed. Let's take a closer look. So as before, we are going to put about 50% tension on the tape. I'm going to adhere each end of the tape. And of course, she's being very helpful right now, but if you had a client with spasticity or any tone, it's going to prove to be a lot more difficult and you might need a helper. So here we have the tension. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel the back end off of the other piece of tape. And right here, I'm going to create this bridge and again adhere the tape where the wrist extensors originate. Now this can be where it gets a little tricky, and again you might need a helper hand. She's awfully helpful right now, but I'm going to peel back each of these pieces, and it's important to align the tape along the PIP and MCP joint, because if you have it kind of go astray, the alignment of pull is not spot on and you might be unhappy with what you get. So I'm just going to keep pulling. Here we go. And again, she's awfully helpful. You might need a wedge or something to support your client if you are doing this on your own. And then you're going to put them in slight flexion. And again, just make sure you are getting that coverage over the metacarpal head. And then we're going to smooth it all over. And there you have it. Okay, we're back again, panned out. So you can see the entire kinesiology tape for functional correction of wrist extension and digit extension. And so now it's up to you, therapists, to determine what are you going to do now that you've facilitated more wrist and finger extension. So of course you're going to go into task-oriented training. You can have the client reaching, releasing or pre-grasping, and transferring the object, and let go. It is completely up to you what you want to do. Make sure to include in your documentation the purpose of why you did your kinesiology taping and what outcomes occurred during the session. So if they, without the kinesiology tape, were unable to do a certain task, but with the kinesiology tape they were, then that's a real winner when it comes to justifying your skilled services. We hope you enjoyed kinesiology taping for functional wrist correction and digit extension. We'll see you next time, NeuroNation. Bye.